My name is Eran Egozy. I'm the co-founder and chief technical officer at Harmonix Music Systems. After finishing high school, I went to MIT for undergrad, and after 4 years, I actually started the MEng program, and a couple of years later, I got my master's degree in electrical engineering and computer science. Um, so, all my kind of sort of official studies were all engineering and computer based, but I'd always played clarinet. I played clarinet in junior high school and high school, and when I got to MIT, I discovered they had a great music program. So in fact, I always kind of did both things. I did engineering and computers, and I always kept playing clarinet. What I was sort of always hoping for was finding a way to combine music and engineering, because those were the two big kind of passions in my life. And I wasn't really sure if that was even possible or how I would do that. So at MIT, I just kind of kept doing both things separately until one day I discovered the Media Lab. And I found out that at the Media Lab there was actually a research group that was working on combining computers and music together. And as it turns out, I met Alex Rigopoulos there, who was also doing computers and music. We were office mates, and then later became partners in starting this new company. We started the company in 1995, and we tried a few different things with this joystick music system. We actually created this product called the Axe around it. That didn't sell very well. We then managed to get our software and hardware into Disney at Epcot Center. It's actually still down there. If you go down to Epcot Center, you'll see this exhibit with our stuff in it. You get to wave your hands in the air, and you get to control the music. And we tried a few other things, but nothing really stuck until around the year 2000, where we found out sort of, I think, the key as how to get this experience into people's hands, and that was through games. So we had our first couple of games were called Frequency and Amplitude. They were PlayStation games, PlayStation 2 games. After that, we did a series of karaoke games called Karaoke Revolution. We did this game called iToy Antigrav, which actually was not a music game, but was still kind of this fun game you play in front of the camera. And then after that, we made Guitar Hero, Guitar Hero 1 and 2. And, obviously that sort of changed everything. Well, the company's about 13 years old, and I think the most stressful period has been the past 13 years. So it hasn't really let up much, I mean, we've had more stressful moments and less stressful moments. For example, there's times where we thought we were about to go bankrupt because we're running out of money and our products are not making a profit, and it came really close at a few points. But Alex, being the great CEO that he is, was able to raise more money and keep us afloat. My typical day, there is no typical day. It's changed a lot for me over the years. So what I do now is very different than what I did 2 years ago and 4 years ago and all the way back to the beginning. For the first, for the first several years, my typical day would be programming. Then as we got bigger, I started doing less programming and more management. And then for the past 2 years, I really haven't been doing any programming at all. So, which is a little sad, of course, because like I said, that was my favorite thing to do, building things, And now, as it turns out, what I'm doing is I'm building the company. So video games is a very competitive field, and there's lots of people who ask, how do I get into the games industry? So first, it's important to understand all the different components of the game industry and what the jobs are, right? So there's generally programmers, there's artists, there's designers, there's production, meaning people who kind of manage the process, and there's QA, quality assurance. Generally, without any training, the easiest position to get is QA, is quality assurance, because if you're kind of smart and you're good at problem solving and you play a lot of games, which is probably a lot of people, you can probably get into QA, or at least kind of go down that route. Game companies are pretty much looking for the best and brightest all the time. So when hiring, hiring is really tricky. We have pretty strict, requirements on who we hire. And if it comes down to someone who's, technically very good, but is not a good personality fit, versus someone who's maybe technically not so good, but a great personality fit, we'd probably take neither, right? So we're looking for the person who's technically great and also a great personality fit. So your education is really important. For example, in our art department, I know that we look for artists who have a really good portfolio, who are really creative, who know how to draw really well. Our design spots, we look for people who can really sort of solve interesting problems and have a good head on their shoulders. For engineers, they don't necessarily have to have a background in game programming, but that always helps. If you're really excited by games and you really think that's where you want to be going, then dedicate a lot of extra, time to it on the side to kind of, increase your chances of looking good for someone who's looking to hire you. And oh, and by the way, a side benefit is that you'll probably be having fun too.
Mm-hmm.